like how Patton Oswalt or Louis C.K. or hip hop music on the street or written independent rock and roll, where they're like, you know what, we're not in it for likes. We're in it for people to come to our thing.
Yeah.
I'm a fan and buy it, and then we keep all the income and help be able to make more stuff, right? Like take out the middleman. And that idea started to formulate. And I was like, oh, I'm going to bridge these two. I'll test it out with this first film. We'll build the infrastructure. We'll build our website, which I should have mentioned earlier before, okeydoh.com. That's OHKEYDOH.com. I always like to go, oh-key-doh. It's like, so we built this thing, this like little place that like I look at as a farmer's market, but instead of selling scented candles, we're selling like a ridiculous comedy, you know? Yeah. And which is right here on the poster behind me, right? And
y'all, welcome back to the best podcast, because I am the best podcast host, the one, the only CVMK Show, the ballhead one. Look, I am super excited. We have a legend, and I do mean a legend, on today's show. Like, I get excited about all my guests. All my guests are welcome, and I hear their story, you know, to go through everything. But when I met Matt at the film festival in Dubuque, it was just like surreal. I was like, oh my God, my childhood is staring me in the face. Super nice guy, asked me on the show. He said yes. So he's on the show. We got Matt Doherty, the one, the only himself, Mr. Lester Averman. We're going to go into a story. The stuff he's working on now, yo, when I'm talking about he is trailblazing, really creating a new scene for just Hollywood as a whole, has been absolutely fantastic. But before we go any further, you know, if you want to keep seeing this show, you know what you got to do? You got to go to YouTube, man. One word, 4 letters, CVMK is literally my initials. It's not difficult. It's free. It's not even something you got to pay for, but you got to subscribe. CVMK, all social media at the CVMK Show, or where the supplements are, y'all, at CVMK Global. You know I run a fitness supplement line. I need y'all to get it today, y'all. Look, I got the top open because I actually use this Samson. These men, look, if you like me, you know, obviously if I can recall the 90s, I'm not that young, right? So, you know, sometimes you want to burn, you know, more calories, build muscles, stay youthful. Samson is what you need. 3 little vegan capsules in the morning with your breakfast. You're good to go, y'all. Get it today at www.cvmkglobal.store. And when I return, and I shall return, we have the one, the only Matt Doherty after this.
The limit, from the heart of the Chi, where grit meets grace. Leaders shake hands, fighters push limits, voices rise with faith, and culture moves the streets. This is news, fitness, and perspective with an edge. Raw, executive, unapologetically Chicago. Welcome to the CVMK Show.
All right, y'all, let me read his bio because I want to show that I can read, and I've been working on my Hooked on Phonics strategy. Obviously, the screen, this QR code's right there. Let me read his bio before we go any further. Let's see here. All right, I'm ready for Hollywood. I got my teleprompter. Matt Scott is a 25-year veteran of the entertainment industry, widely recognized for his iconic role as the wisecracking underdog hero, Lester Averman, in the Mighty Ducks film franchise. Chicago area native, proud graduate of Northwestern University. Okay, North Side. I went to Loyola. So prestigious theater programs, careers, masterclass, longevity, grit, one of the world's most unforgiving industries. Beyond the ice, he has shared the screen with Hollywood's heavyweights in projects like So I'm Married and Axe Murderer, Home Alone, and the Oscar-winning film Argo. And his hit television series like Grey's Anatomy and Boston Public, he's far more than just 90s nostalgia icon. He is a relentless creative force. Lifetime member of the legendary Actors Studio Academy, the show's screen-winning semifinalist and dedicated playwright. He continually incinerates boundaries and expands his craft. Whether he's reprising his legendary role on Disney Plus Game Changers or mentoring other writers, he embodies the resilience, adaptability, and high output mindset of a true everyday hero. Ooh, that was tough. Y'all help me welcome the one, the only Matt Doherty. Matt, how you doing today, man?
basking in the glow of your hype-manness. My God. You're hired.
Right, I gotta bring out the applause just for you, man. This is a
dream. Me or the bobble? Is it me or the bobble? What should we leave the bobble?
Both.
We'll let the bobble on Overwatch. He'll be on Overwatch.
I love it.
Wow, that was your phonics lessons. My God, they've helped out.
Hey, you know, I got to work on it, man. One day I'm gonna host. I got to host the Oscars, and I got to be able to pronounce these things. So,
I want to meet that guy.
Look, it's super exciting to have you on the show. It's a blessing, really. It is. But I want to start here. You got into this early, I remember.
I guess I'm OG, as they say.
Yeah. So tell me, how did that happen?
That's a good question. First of all, Cody, thanks for having me on. Yeah. I immediately, when I met you, same thing, man. I was like, I know this guy. And then when I saw your 312, I was like, okay, now I know this guy. That's right. I was like, that's why. It's just an accident or fate or whatever you subscribe that to mean. I got lucky, and then I stayed lucky. I mean, you're an entrepreneur. Luck is, you got to be ready for luck, and then when you get there, you got to make sure you can stay there, right? And I think I was just a baby. I was 9 years old when I got started. So, and I just saw an ad in the paper, and they wanted redheads, and that was before my hair was had a little less gray in it, And I had all the freckles, and it was for a movie called Overboard with that Gary Marshall directed, the great Gary Marshall, and I just looked in the Chicago Tribune because that's what I saw Michael J. Fox do on TV. He would read the newspaper on Family Ties, and I was like, I just want to be Michael J. Fox. So I was like, I'll read the newspaper, and I saw the thing, and I was like, oh, I'll go to that audition. I'm a redhead. I don't know where that came from. Maybe it came from the fact that I'm the youngest brother, and like I saw my brother do some stuff, and I was like, I could do that better, I'm gonna do it. My brother did it, So it might have been like that kind of family thing, and then we went down to. This is when they would do these auditions, like national searches, because they wanted real kids, right? And so we go down to what's called a cattle call, and a cattle call is exactly what it sounds like. Thousands of people were showing up, and it was at the Drake Hotel, right, over off of Michigan Avenue, east of Michigan, right? Yeah. And like, wow. And my mom only took me because she wanted to go to Water Tower Mall. She wanted to go to the mall, right? Mm-hmm. And the bury the lead. She never made it to the mall that day because we just kept staying, and we were there. I remember we were there for hours, and then finally you get called back, and then they line you up. You talked about this business, and they literally line you up, and this woman walks down and goes, you stay, you go, you stay, you go. And I got picked to stay, and then they took a Polaroid, they made us wait, and then they called some of our Polaroids, and then we got back, we read some lines, and then the next day you're supposed to meet Gary Marshall. And I grew up watching, of course, Happy Days and all that stuff. Yeah. I'm a little nervous, and I go into, and it was at the Drake Hotel, and you meet Gary Marshall, and I go in there, and I'm so nervous, I can't even speak, and he's like, he starts laughing, because I guess evidently I was funny, even though I was really nervous, and he goes, "Okay, what do you do?" And I said, "I do gymnastics, swimming, and baseball, and swimming." He goes, "Gymnastics, you want to do a headstand?" So I tried to do a headstand, and I fell, and then he fell out of his chair laughing. And he goes, "You're funny, kid. Get an agent." So we literally looked in the phone book. My mom picked up the Chicago, Yellow Pages, and that's the thing we used to have, right?
I remember Yellow Pages. I remember.
She literally looked up talent agent and called the first one alphabetical, and then I met my first agent, who said she would take me on as a client when she talked to us. Yeah. If as long as, and her name's Marcia Becker. She's awesome. And I think she lives up in Wisconsin now, I'm pretty sure. And she said, I'll take man on as a client as long as you and your husband, if he ever wants to go to a baseball game or ever wants to do something and not go to an audition, and I find out you drag him to the audition, I'll drop you like a ton of bricks. So she was super protective of kids, right?
Yeah.
And I think that put my mom at ease, And then we started the thing. We started the whole journey, and I got lucky again. I got my second audition was for Home Alone, right?
Wow.
And again, like I got all the way to the end. I was auditioning for the role of, Kevin, and I was like all the way to the end. And my introduction to Hollywood was kind of being positioned to have a chance to play this like lead role.
Yeah.
Really what I was doing was presenting an alternative to Macaulay Culkin's agents that they could go another direction to bring down his asking price.
Oh, wow.
That's really what it was really about. So my introduction to Hollywood was like everything. You could say like that is literally everything you've ever learned. You learn it when you're 10 years old.
Yeah.
And there I am. I'm in the New Trier High School, great
New Trier, yeah.
And non-Chicagoans might know they made 2 high schools. And John Hughes, the great John Hughes, grabbed the one nobody used to make high school dramas, like 16 Candles, like Breakfast Club, and that's where his offices were. So we were literally in the library at Breakfast Club, and that's where I had that callback. It was crazy. And I was like 10 years old, like this is where Breakfast Club is shot, and the director, the great Chris Columbus, comes out and tells like the 9 or 10 of us, all redheads again, that we'll all be in the movie. So everybody relax, and so no one had. And it was a really he like kind of modeled how you handle like deal with kids at that thing, because there's so much rejection, And so he kept his word. He put us all in the movie, and then my third audition was the Mickey Mouse Club, where I almost ended up in the Mickey Mouse Club, but then they had to sing, and they said we don't want this kid. And then the fourth audition I had was a commercial I booked, and then it's just kind of started. Because at the time, everything like Chicago, as you know, like it is and always will be a nexus. Like there's something in the water for us. We make great hip hop artists. We great writers, directors. Something in the water, man. It's probably that chocolate factory out in the river. And that time it was really like, I think Fred Savage was just about to get Wonder Years, and so all eyes were on Chicago. And so I happened to come of age during that.
Do you think, or at least when it was happening in real time, were you aware of how iconic everything was? Like when all this hit the fan, right? There is no subscription service. There's no Disney Plus. Like you had to go to the movie theaters, or you really had to have cable to watch, right? Like I remember the Wonder Years. I remember going to the movie theaters to see the Mighty Ducks films. I remember getting Home Alone on VHS, and it was like it was this almost surreal 90s moment. And when you're on set and you're in Lake Forest, like I talk about the house all the time, like the infamous house. And I've always said to myself, what did Mr. McAllister do for a job to take his whole family? I still can't figure it out. Like I've always asked that.
Big man, he's living big.
But when you were in it, like, did it hit you like, I'll never be the same?
No. Luckily, no. I think I was naive, man. I was protected. I think naivete is great. Like you're a business person, you understand. Like if you knew how hard a thing was going to be, you probably wouldn't have done it. You know what I mean? And it's like, and I think that that's the positive of not knowing, no, I just was all a little like thunderstruck. I mean, here, like, what? They closed down O'Hare Airport, and that's my intro. What? I'm walking. They closed down a terminal, and we're just running down. Okay, we'll do that. And but we didn't know we were making Home Alone, and I was just there for a couple of days. They cut my whole thing out. So it's like, it's so funny. It's like I learned every lesson that Hollywood teaches you. I mean, God, 35. You said 20. I think 25 years. I've been doing this thing for 38 years.
Oh wow.
Like, and I've had every experience you can think of. But if you really, when I do these podcasts, and I don't do them often because I don't, like talking about a story, you're like, but like you get almost every experience, because I actually got cut out of the movie, right? So I got to learn, like I was barely in the movie. So you got this, got cut. But then like I still made a lot of money, it's like, then you get that. It's So there's this, but they don't tell you about anything in a creative field, whatever you do as a creative entrepreneur, the ups and downs, the like extreme ups and downs, and like learning how to stay this way during it. But I got all those lessons, like the whiplash of it all, like right away. But I don't think like we didn't know we were making Mighty Ducks. We were making the Mighty Ducks. We didn't know be a hockey team. There would be that people like to this day like recognize me on the street, which is still boggles my mind. And people say like I was a big part of their childhood, and like we didn't know we were doing that. Like you get that sense after a while. Like I think if you're a veteran, you start to realize when you're doing something special. But I try to. I've had really good teachers over the years, and when I was later and starting to kind of really learn what I did, I was taught that if you treat everything like it's, we would say like you're doing Shakespeare or you're whatever you're doing, you're going to elevate what you're doing, and you never know who you're meeting. You're going to make people feel special and all that. And like if you can live in that place, then it's all great, And I think that, but yeah, I try to just stay out of the results and enjoy, the experience. But that's just like who would have thought that,
I want to switch, and I know I got about 20 minutes left, and I want to appreciate your time and thank you for it. But I want to get into failed state and whatnot. But I do have one more question in this. When you were making the film, I was telling Susan Garrell, I said, I don't think that time period understood that they were creating stories without trying to create a point. And what I mean by that, like, if you look at the diversity of the Ducks team, when we watched it, we were just kids. We were like, oh, cool. Thinking, you think of like, you think of Keenan Thompson. You think of, I think of the first one, Justice Smollett. Yeah, Jesse's there in the first one. And you're like, you're getting, and you're older. You're like, they were all on set together. Like, is it what's robbing filmmaking now is I don't want to say the unfortunate is that when you're deliberately trying to make a point, you can miss a point. But if you unintentionally bring talent together for the point, it happens.
I think I agree with you. And about this reactionary time, this like making up for lost, just some bad behavior in a general cross board in the industry. But like that actually is intentional. I think people don't realize that how intentional that was at the time. If you had Jordan Kerner sitting next to me, who produced the Mighty Ducks, that was by design. He was always about, he came up in, I think it was always about inclusion, diversity, representation, and shining a light on underrepresented things. And that was by in design, intentional, to be put right down the middle of the pipeline for America to digest, right? And he did it that it was all buried under the story because the story came first, right? And that's Jordan was I don't think gets enough credit, and he's always been about that in his work. But it's also kind of how he is about it in his life. That's what he stands for. That's how he walks on. There's no difference between who he is on the street and who he is in a producer's chair, right? So, but yeah, that was kind of built into it, if we're gonna and that's why another reason why I think Mighty Ducks is kind of ahead of its time, like it still stands up. Like I meet so many people who tell me like how much they love this movie, how much it meant to them, and I always ask them, well, why do you keep watching it?
Yeah. Why? You know what? I think I can answer that. I think we watch it because, it's great entertainment, it's great acting, but we watch it because it made us believe that America is at a point where it didn't, like, you could just be, right? Like, and like, these kids came together And they all kind of shared the same, even though they were from different economic backgrounds. Like I remember in the first one, the other team was like all the rich kids, right? And so it's weird because I grew up in Orland Park, so like the experience is like I grew up in an affluent suburb, right? So I'm like I can relate more to the other team than I could to the Ducks in some instances, but I'm like, man.
Cody, are you telling me you're in Orland Park, Orland Square Mall?
Orland Square Mall. I am Carl Sandburg, Gerald Junior High, all of it, LaGrange Road, right? So growing up, growing up in that, I think seeing it it made us see the best in each other, right? And then it was like, oh shoot, we are all the same ultimately. We got to cut to go ahead.
No, you got me for another like 25 minutes or so. So yeah, we're good. No, dude, I think those are the same reasons. I always love listening and hearing what people have to say about why this thing stays. And it always sits in some lane of that. Like we see ourselves in the team. And I've had profound experiences where I've talked to lifelong fans where they like I know when they're talking to me that they grow up in a safe environment and that this film, it meant something to them. And I could hear it in their voice sometimes. And there was a time where I was like, I wanted to be taken so seriously as an artist. I wanted to break free from when I was a kid. And then and now I'm like, it's kind of helped make me who I am. And I don't need to defend anything about who I am as an artist and what I'm stand for in the world. So now I can fully like when I hear people talk about their experiences of that movie, I can make it not about me and go, wait, I get that. That really meant a lot to you.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how many varieties of that experience are, and it's global. And that's the thing that I was like, we want to make more movies like that today, but it's so hard to make movies like that. So
I know we're going to get into it. I want to talk about that transition because I'm sure that's an experience that we all need to hear about. And then we want to get to the movie Fail State. We got 2 quick breaks, guys. When we get back, we have the one, the only Matt Doherty after these 2 breaks.
There's a hero in all of us waiting to be unleashed. All it takes is just that one last push. Activate the hero within with CVMK Global Supplements. All natural, steroid-free, designed to enhance performance, build muscle, and increase energy. You are unstoppable. You can do this. Become your own hero at www.cvmkglobal.store.
Creatine means for me being able to replenish back into what I burn out. So it helps me stay solid. It helps me keep my body toned and strengthening my muscles and my bones as well. The Super Thick definitely helps me keep focused. It gives me energy as I'm fueling through my workouts, replenish all of the energy that I lost. It helps rebuild that muscle mass. So everything that I'm putting in is not for waste. If you're looking to find these products, you can find them at cvmkglobal.store. Grab them now. Trust me, you won't be disappointed.
Y'all, www.cvmkglobal.store, where it goes down. I'm telling you, how do you know? I founded the company. I make sure all
man, I respect this hustle, Cody. I respect it. You and I are born in the same area.
That's it. Y'all, go to www.cvmkglobal.store. Get your creatine today. Super Thick. I'm telling you, it's absolutely amazing. 5 grams, clean, won't get you bloated, creatine mono, and all of our stuff. Our pre-workout, superpower, protein central. Just get it today. Y'all see, go to the website, www.cvmkglobal.store. All right, so
we were talking about transitional. We're talking about life.
Yeah, that transition has to be interesting.
That's an interesting word for it.
yeah. I've been so this is crazy. So my wife and I, we left the film festival. We went to go see Michael on Sunday, and a fantastic movie. A lot of stuff I knew, some stuff I didn't know. They really got into the plastic surgery, but one thing that really stood out is he said, "I'm no longer in a kid band." right? Like his ultimate driver was, I have to separate this version of how people see me into really how I see myself. And you know, I'm not an artist, so I can only imagine when you're in a role. And I said this to myself. I said my biggest fear for Jafar is that now he can't escape Michael. If he goes to do something else, they'll say, "Oh, that's Michael." You know, like it doesn't matter what, he could do an action film and they'll be like, "Oh, why's Michael, you know, shooting people?" You know, so like, you know, it's how do you break the narrative? What was that like? Like you said, now you don't have to defend it, but you had to get to that point where it's like, hey, look, in my evolution, you know, this is my process for that. What was that like?
Well, man, I would argue that you are an artist, and I would argue that we all are, and that life is a creative act. And what you're doing here, and how you're doing it, and how you converse and make people feel comfortable and open up and create dialogue is a creative act. So I would say your first statement might be a little false. But what do I know? I think we're all that way. We're all artists. We're all creative, you know? We're talking about identity.
Yeah.
I think for me, and it's a journey. It's, you know, I didn't know this when I'm 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 26. I didn't know this until, you know, I was like 30 or so, or 35 really. That like, I'm many things. You know, I'm not just, you know, I'm a dog parent. I'm a boyfriend. I'm a brother. I'm a friend. I'm a mentor. I'm a mentoree. I'm a writer. I'm Matt, you know, and I try to be who I am the same everywhere. You know, when I talk to people from home, I can code switch and become a little more Chicago. There's a different part of me that comes out, right? Yeah. But like, there's an element to me, you know, I don't have to work hard to be a chameleon. Like there are actors and then there's like magicians. I got that gift. Like I can go into a space, become a thing. I don't have to work at it, you know? It's just a gift, right? But like when you're that gifted at something, you can lose your own sense of self, right? And, you know, I had a mentor and a teacher named Susan Peretz many, many years ago who, you know, she would be sprinkling little lessons, and you don't figure them out until later, you know, which was, she was talking about the great Sir Alec Guinness, who was known, of course, internationally as Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? But he was a storied, you know, knighted theater actor, artist, many things. And like he, you know, when he was younger, he was a chameleon, and the older and older he got, it was just truth. It was just truth, right? And just poured out of him. And that's kind of the artist's journey, I think, in a lot of us, you know? And you could say the same thing about a great young pitcher can throw all this stuff and then eventually they get a little crafty, right? But it's, for me, it's just getting that sense of self that is independent of Hollywood, right? And the best teacher for that is life. Right? Is things not going your way? I think, you know, when you come of age like I did at a time when, you know, my frontal lobe is forming, you know, and I'm living in this sense of reality that isn't real. Yeah. And even if I had like quote unquote good Midwest parents, that's still, you know, discombobulating. You can be affected by that. Yeah. Like, oh man, I want a Coca-Cola right now, and then like, let's get number 6 of Coke, and then next thing you know, it's right in front of you, and like that affects you, right? And it's not real, and it's not life, and I think that's why a lot of child actors struggle, you know. You know, I have a friend who he would say he ran into some serious trouble. I share a lot of the same troubles, but I don't think I went as far down as he did, and like he would talk about his troubles came when the phone stopped ringing. Wow. And I understand what that meant, you know, like that those are real things. Those are real pains, right? And especially when you're a young person. So like for me, it's been this journey of getting a hold of a thing that is just mine. And like some of my best times in my entire life were when like I was like, I'm walking away from all of this stuff, and I was like sweeping up, working for carpenters and like doing totally different things and going, wow, like there's a life outside of this industry, knowing all along I'd probably be brought back to it, you know?
Yeah.
So, but I have a very unique perspective on life because, you know, I was driven around in a limo and then I the limo in that order. Whereas most people in life, they work, they struggle, they do this thing, and then they get driven around a limo. So my life has kind of been lived a lot of like backwards. And the great gift for me is that it has given me a tremendous sense of empathy and a sense of self that I think makes my writing and my leadership, the way I act on sets when I'm in a leadership position. I think I come at it because I've been in so many different lanes, and I know what it's like to have things and have those things taken from you. And so I think it's all opened me up to one, know who I am more, which I think is great, especially in business, and two, and know what I stand for, and then also like respect and know how to treat the people around me.
Yeah.
That's I mean, you're asking the single most important question. So yeah, you could talk about that for hours.
I like it. You know, so it's interesting hearing that. Trying to get as I hear the atmosphere of Chicago in the background is nothing but sirens. Trying to get, it's so weird, like just to hear the outside noise, like Chicago is in full effect this morning. So you know, professionally, I have been, you know, in business to business, you know, software, enterprise, AI sales for, you know, forever, I feel like. But I always loved the Arsenio Hall show, and my mom would watch Oprah. And I was like, I want to do that. I just don't know how to do it. And then I didn't know, I always thought it was for like, you know, I was like, oh, well, I'm not like an actor. Like, this is like, you know, for people of, you know, real talent, you know? So, you know, I was like, I don't know how to do this. But, you know, I started what ended up happening. And I think in your path, it kind of finds you. The more I did the other stuff, the more opportunities I had to do this. Yeah. And so because I was meeting with, you know, these business leaders and they wanted to talk and they talked about the same things that I'm talking about here. I was like, all I need to do is bring that world into here, right? And it kind of just unfolds, but it is a as you go process.
I think it is, man. Yeah. I mean, if we had figured it all out, it would take away half the fun. And also, I'd probably, you know, maybe we'd find a way to muck it up. You know, maybe we're on a need to know basis.
Yes, definitely. So I want to talk about that. So you do the shift. You know, now, you know, as a writer, as now you're the OG on the block, right? You've got the movie, which I'm going to see. I was like, man, I watched it, and then I was like, all right. So, but I'm gonna watch it and everything. What has that experience been like? Kind of seeing yourself go from, okay, this is that, and then now I'm behind here and I'm creating the actual art now.
Well, it's to me about empowerment, you know?
Okay.
And like, you know, that and two things, like it's this constant journey, you know, it's this, just because you're good at something doesn't mean you have to do it, right? And that was that journey for me, you know. Like, I don't get me wrong, I'll still act when my friends call me, but like, I had to realize that, like, in my heart, like tattooed in my soul, is I am a writer, you know, and I am a director, and I'm a producer. I'm a person who makes things happen. I've always gravitated toward those. It was staring me in the face all my life, you know. I was always gravitated toward those people. I've been blessed to know some incredible leaders and some not so good ones, which teach you, you know. Yeah. And but I think and I've always done it, but just because I was quote unquote famous as this other thing, I was like, this is what I really love, right? And so you know, and then I played by the rules. Like a lot of us, our generation, you know, we're such an interesting generation where we grew up on a set of rules, and then when we came of age in the marketplace, those rules that we play by and the way things are distributed and all that was just gutted and changed, right? Revenue streams changed, all that stuff.
Yes.
And I don't know about you, but like I was slow to innovate. You know, I was slow to kind of like come out of denial and going, wait, you can't just put a postcard in the mail. You can't just do this thing. And that's the thing. You got to like really make stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And I kept trying. And so I've been writing for years. I've been writing for other people. I consult and all that stuff. And I realized like deep in my heart that I needed to take one of my pieces because it wouldn't let me go and go, you know what? We got these. I'm holding up a phone for those who are listening. We got these things in our pocket, right?
Yeah.
That you can do everything on. And something told me, and it would not let me go. Like whenever I have an idea and it keeps coming back to me, and I was like, okay, I got to give it attention to see, and I got to do it. So otherwise it won't leave me alone, right? It's like, I got to make a movie. And I had a stack. I mean, a stack of what you call scripts and all that stuff. And I knew I didn't want to start with like my precious personal baby that if I messed it up, I would feel like I've hurt my newborn child. You know what I mean? So I was like, I gotta pick a piece that was robust, that was like punk rock, that could handle it. And I was like, I'm gonna grab this thing I've been working on, and I'm gonna find my friends who are all underemployed. That's when I had that intuition. That was like where that creative entrepreneur that was starting to click with me.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that so many artists don't realize. We aren't taught so many things. We're not taught like financial responsibility, you know, like we learn calculus, but we don't learn how to balance our checkbooks. You know what I mean? It's like, and so artists, especially like learning how to be a business person. And like and so all of that word was supported there. I was like, I got to do a thing in a way. And I was like, wait a second. I'm at the Actors Studio.
Yeah.
I met these older people who were in Bonnie and Clyde, which was like the movie that launched the 1970s independent film revolution.
Yeah.
And I would meet Michael J. Powler and Estelle Parsons, these legends. And I asked them, you know, like, what was that like? And they were all like underemployed. Nobody was calling them. And I was like, oh, that's why they did that thing. They did that thing with their friends because no one was calling their name. And I was like, I'll do that. And I'll do it in a way where I'll keep it fun. I'll test it out just like you do any other business. You test it, and if you have fun and you do it and the thing looks good, we'll do another day. And that's literally how we made this movie, you know? And I knew all along that I wanted to be guided by this, like, you know, listen, we've had a strike, right?
Yeah.
And right after a pandemic, and in between, the business was like being consolidated, and then after the strike, they just changed the revenue models again. And so, go newsflash, the artists are not being put forward first, right? And so I started to get lit up by this idea that, like how Patton Oswalt or Louis C.K. or hip hop music on the street or written independent rock and roll, where they're like, you know what, we're not in it for likes. We're in it for people to come to our thing.
Yeah.
I'm a fan and buy it, and then we keep all the income and help be able to make more stuff, right? Like take out the middleman. And that idea started to formulate. And I was like, oh, I'm going to bridge these two. I'll test it out with this first film. We'll build the infrastructure. We'll build our website, which I should have mentioned earlier before, okeydoh.com. That's OHKEYDOH.com. I always like to go, oh, key, do. It's like, so we built this thing, this like little tiny place that like I look at as a farmer's market, but instead of selling scented candles, we're selling like a ridiculous comedy, you know? Yeah. And which is right here on the poster behind me, right? And but like these ideas, and then once I started opening my mouth up about this, you know this, you do the same thing. Like other people had the same idea. Like, you know, it's like it is like that. Like independent rock and roll, they've been having to do this way earlier than movie making has had to do. And we get like the success of a thing called Dropout on YouTube, which is they've created their like niche thing. And like, I was like, I want to create a micro studio that is built on a co-op model that puts the artists forward rather than like working so hard and then just giving it away in the hopes that eyeballs will find it. There's just something about that. And so the more we would invest in this idea, when you're doing a thing, you're just trying to do it, and you're like, is this going to work out? And then I was like, I'm not crazy. People are generating this idea has some resonance. And then I settled on to the final thing for me, which is where we're at now with the company, and is that even just talking about it right now, like if somebody's listening, or when I go somewhere else and we talk about the thing, or if one person hears this and goes, "You're right. Why do we give all that money to Amazon? Why? What the heck?" And wait a second. Wait, you mean the artists don't make any money there? Why are we giving everything away? We've cheapened everything. And that just breaks my heart. And I was like, if one person gets a better idea than one we got to help change the narrative, to create like a little counter culture thing, because we're never going to keep up with AI. We're never going to keep up with all that. But if we just, somebody else gets an idea that's even better, and then more diversity in the marketplace. Because I think if we do not innovate, we are dead in the water. And what is life without art? It's really empty.
No, it is really empty, and I think that's well said. I was listening to an interview.
I get all soapboxy about it.
No, you're good. You're good. I know I got a couple more questions. I'm gonna get you out of here. I was listening to an interview with Taraji P. Henson, and she, said something similar, and she was like, we don't get paid what people think, and like she broke down the numbers, and I was just like, have we been lied to? Like, I guess it's almost like
everything else. It's everything else in the world. It's not even the 1%. It's the 0.001% keeps all the wealth, and then there's all of us, right?
Yeah.
And how do we poke a hole in that? And I think it's things like this. It's things like you're doing.
Yeah.
It's like things like that. And it's like being able to just, and it's fascinating because I'm out there with a machete. And I'm trying to drive track. We're innovating, right? We're doing new social media stuff. We're doing we're trying to get eyeballs, and it's fascinating to see how people are like, wait a second, you mean you're selling the movie? And I'm like, yeah, you know how like every other product gets sold? They're like, but I said, it's because everything has always been done a certain way. That's why we've done it the same way, status quo, right? But it doesn't serve us. So why do we keep doing a thing that doesn't serve us? It's because it's habit, right?
Yeah.
And so when you innovate, like you do, like what we're trying to do, you run up against the status quo, and it's a grind. But it's like, but I get emboldened because I'm just trying to change hearts and minds, like one person at a time, to go, wait. And I know I'm not alone. There's a lot of other people that are doing the same thing right now, and that's to me the exciting part of this time, where it feels like all our systems are kind of collapsing. I mean, I made a movie called Failed State, which is a comedy about living in a failed state, right? And we are in a moment like
right.
Like newsflash, So, but like, like it's right there behind me, But like, I have a lot of optimism in humanity's ability to like, you're never going to stop artists from making art, and they're going to find ways to, like, the counterculture and punk rock or hip hop attitude, right, is going to always save the day. It always does, every 30 years, and we are just in one of those moments right now. And that to me is the sustaining, hopeful thought during what feels like very dark times.
All right, I got one more question. I'm gonna get you out of here. If you could have a conversation with your younger self, what would you tell that individual and why?
I tell them to go to okido.com and download Pay What You Can. Failed State right now. Pay What You Can model. That's crazy. Yeah. Isn't it great? I would tell him, oh man, you're right on time. You're right on time. There's all, life moves fast. There's time, but I think we tell ourselves sometimes there's not time for all this stuff. And there is. Time's a very fluid thing, man.
Yeah.
It can bend. Like right now, we've been having a conversation. We've been able to have the whole conversation, right?
Yeah.
And I would tell myself to be patient, and that I'm brave as an artist and a writer, and I would learn that because I do things that push up against stuff to not take stuff so personally early on. And that, like, I would probably tell myself that the real goal is doing the stuff with the people you love to do it. And if you get to do that, how lucky we are.
I like it. Matt, this has been absolutely a pleasure, man. Where can the people get Failed State? Where can they connect with you? Where can they follow you?
Well, after they get some vegan supplements from you.
Yes.
They can go to okido.com. That's Okido. That's OHKEYDOH.com. And you can watch Failed State. It's a preposterous comedy that really talks about what it's like to live in the chaos and confusion of a failed state. And we try to make it fun. And you can go to okido.com today and just pay what you can. And you get a link to a private screening room. And that's that. Yeah. Or you can go to Instagram too, which is we're at Failed State, the movie.
Y'all connect with them. Go to okido.com. Go to Instagram. Watch it. Pay what you can. Support, because unfortunately we are living in a failed state. and if you want to keep seeing amazing content like you have on, you know what you got to do. YouTube, CVMK, where all the supplements are at CVMK Global. It is everywhere. Matt, you've been amazing. I'm going to give you one more, and then I'm going to sign off, and I'll play our outro video. If you can see one person on this show that you can introduce us to, who would it be and why?
Michael B. Jordan.
Michael, hey, he's here. He's got an invite.
Because I think he's the real deal, and I like what he stands for.
I like it. Michael B., you got an invite, y'all. Connect with Matt as it goes down in the CVMK Show.
On the days I need mental clarity and peak physical performance, Superpower by CVMK Global is my to-go. It supports me whether I'm flowing through yoga, pushing heavy in the gym, or striking hard at boxing or Muay Thai. No matter how I combine training, this pre-workout keeps me energized and consistent, feeling locked in and unstoppable. Superpower always delivers. Clean energy, no crash. A non-negotiable for those days I'm pushing extra hard. What are you waiting for? Try it and let me know how it works for you.
This is the CVMK Show. Hit that subscribe button. Stay locked in for the next conversation and fuel your grind with the best supplements at cvmkglobal.store. See you on the next one.